So one of the other things about Keele is that we are a research-led institution. Now, there are lots of different types of law schools, and they teach and work in different ways up and down the country. Keele is a research-led institution. What that means is that the academics who will be teaching you whilst you're here at Keele are the ones who are writing the textbooks and writing the journal articles which are being used in universities up and down the country. And we're a very highly ranked research school. We're what is classed as a top tier research law school, and we engage in this idea of research-led teaching. So you learn about law through reading the cutting-edge research which is being produced by the academics who are teaching you in class. But what we're also really passionate about is the fact that our research should have impact. So we don't want to write a book which is going to sit on a dusty shelf and only be read by other academics. We want our research to make a difference in the community. So we have impactful research. The research which is conducted here at Keele impacts a number of really key bodies, both at the national and international level. So we have influenced parliamentary committees, judicial bodies, legal regulators, medical professional regulators, as well as international organizations, NGOs, and the United Nations. So my research is around international law and infectious diseases. So I work a lot around how on pandemic preparedness and equitable access to vaccines, for example. I currently hold a £120,000 grant from the AHRC, the Arts and Humanities Research Council, looking at equitable access to a COVID vaccine when one is developed. And quite a lot of my work has been impactful on the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum. I've also provided advice to the Department for International Development and the Foreign Office in the UK on infectious diseases and international law. So obviously with the current COVID pandemic, it's been quite a busy time for my research on infectious diseases and international law. And we have a short video there if you'd like to watch it about how my research on COVID influences my teaching and influences what I do here at Keele, and how it feeds into some of the things I teach around access to medicines, the sharing of viruses, the international response to a pandemic. And it's like that across the board where our academics use their research to aid their teaching and to help students understand the law at the very cutting edge as it's developing and as it's unfolding. And that's one of the things that we're really passionate about here at Keele when it comes to research-led teaching.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Eccleston-Turner. I'm one of the lecturers here in the School of Law at Keele University. One of my main research interests is in global health security and international law, and how we respond to novel outbreaks of emerging infectious diseases at the international level. This is obviously really relevant and interesting at the moment because of the outbreak of coronavirus which is currently occurring. Now, whilst this may appear to be a public health problem, it is also a legal problem and has very clear legal implications. So the first issue there is the human rights implications of an outbreak like this. Lots of the measures which are being proposed or are being taken by some governments around the world have human rights implications. So, for example, the holding of individuals in quarantine, which we're seeing in the UK, but we're also seeing in the cordon sanitaire, the large quarantine, which we're seeing in China at the moment of 50 million people, has clear human rights implications. This is also a legal problem when it comes to things like the sharing of samples of viruses and the sharing of the genetic sequence by governments. This is regulated by international law, and we need the rapid deployment of the sharing of viruses and sequences, but we also need there to be benefits flowing back to affected countries, particularly if they're developing countries. This is also a legal problem because we need to ensure that there is a coordinated international response to an outbreak like this. Very often during novel outbreaks of this kind, states take actions such as closing their borders, denying travel visas, or denying entry to people from certain countries. And it appears from the public health literature that this is not effective in slowing down or preventing cases from coming into your country. But also from a legal point of view, this may breach the international health regulations. The international health regulations is the major treaty in the field of global health security, which empowers the World Health Organization to take certain actions and instructs member states and governments around the world how best to respond to an outbreak of this kind. So there are very clear legal implications for this outbreak, and these are some of the things which students can study on our postgraduate course in global health law, which is part of our international law master's program.